Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the DJN Report. I'm your host, Daniel J. Nichols. And today, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. We are going to be ranking my favorite and least favorite MCU movies. And I'm warning you now, there are some stingers in there. Trust me, oh, trust me. There are some sleeper picks in the higher end of the spectrum, and there are some that are low, and many people will swing on sight for me saying. But it's just my opinion. You're free to disagree, and I would love to have that discourse with you. That's what's great about having this internet community of Marvel film fans and film fans in general. We can all have our own subjective opinions about what we see on screen. So let's get right into it. Coming in at number 21, I think the majority of Marvel fans agree that this is in the lower tier of Marvel movies. I put The Incredible Hulk at dead last. Nothing about this film worked for me personally. I did not like Ed Norton as the Hulk. I know a lot of people did. I know there's like a segment of people who are really not a fan of the recast at first and still wish that Ed Norton was part of the MCU. Personally, when they brought Mark Ruffalo out at Hall H at Comic Con announcing the Avengers, I was so like, whew, just did not, he did not portray the intellect and the internal conflict that is required of playing Bruce Banner. In my opinion, I did not believe him as some mad scientist who's a genius who also is having this beast inside him. It just wasn't believable for me as the character, the way he portrayed it. But Ruffalo, in my opinion, has done a fantastic job. But hey, that's just my opinion. Coming in at number 20, Iron Man 3. Now, I know there's a few people out there who actually do enjoy this movie, and even the ones who don't enjoy it, they do like most of it up until the revelation that the Mandarin is really Ben Kingsley as a actor who's not really a terrorist, and it's really this flame guy who's the real villain who hired him to torment Tony Stark. But I think that I've heard. I think John Campea from former Collider, now doing his own thing. He said himself that Iron Man 3 is a good Shane Black movie, but it is not a good MCU movie. And I tend to agree with that. I think it is a objectively good movie, just by itself, no other context. I think Shane Black, it's right up his alley, and it's right in his style. I think it is a good Shane Black movie, but for the MCU, it just missed, complete miss for me. I completely I was finding myself constantly annoyed by the way they handled the action. These sort of team ups, and Tony would call in, multiple tens um, of suits that were automated to come fight for him, and he'd always be switching suits and Iron Man suits in between the fight, and these obscure weird suits. And sure, these are great nods to the comics, the ones that are in the comics, but nevertheless, I don't like them mid fight having him one suit gets destroyed, then here comes another, and then one suit gets destroyed, and here comes kind of gets rid of the presence and importance and sort of the perception of the Iron Man suit. When I look at Iron Man, not just as a character, but just the suit, I see power, I see strength, I see technological advancement, I see a lethal weapon. And to see one villain just right through them all the time, constantly, so much so that Tony has to go through almost hundreds of them. It was really annoying. And the don't get me started on the Mandarin. That I thought they were working towards a great villain who had an evil but compelling ideology, with the Mandarin, and then all of a sudden, yeah, it was tragic, the mishandling of that movie from an MCU standpoint, in my opinion. And it's a shame that that was the last standalone Iron Man movie that we will ever get. Wow, that hurts to say, with Robert Downey Jr. I doubt they'll ever do an Iron Man 4. I don't think they do that for anyone. So it's a shame. It really is a shame, but life goes on. Next, I spent a lot of time talking about Iron Man 3. God damn. All right. Next, Thor the Dark World. Pretty self-explanatory. Not a bad movie. Not a great movie. Pretty good movie. Boring villain. I like Loki's and Thor's dynamic as always. I do like Jane. I do like Natalie Portman as the love interest for Thor. I think they do have good chemistry. And I do like how they interject the. Oh God, Marvel fans are gonna crucify me if I get the stone wrong. I think the red one is the reality stone. Fuck, if I'm wrong, you guys are gonna crucify me in the comments. But I do believe it's the reality stone. I do like the way they do that a lot. So next, Iron Man 2. Again, not a horrible movie in my opinion, although someone differ. Not a horrible movie in my opinion. Good movie. Hated Whiplash. Liked a lot of all the other stuff. Liked Justin Hammer. Um, I liked Mickey Rourke when he wasn't being Whiplash and doing stupid stuff with electric. Not anyway. I liked the Monaco scenes. Thought those were really cool. Um, there's a lot in that movie that is really cool. The War Machine, Iron Man tag up scene. There's a lot in that movie that is really cool. Some stuff in that movie, complete miss for me. Hey, not bad. Not bad. Next, this one is going to be the first. This one's going to be this is going to be the first of many I get crucified for. Coming in at number 17 in the MCU. Oh boy, I'm going to get crucified. All right, just say it. Captain America, the first Avenger. Ooh, I can hear people typing right now. Oh boy, yeah. Uh, not not a fan. Just personally, not a bad movie. Better than the ones aforementioned. But there's just something about it. I just didn't work totally for me. I didn't like it tonally. I love the stuff they did before he became Captain America, the backstory in the Bronx and Brooklyn. I mean, and them developing him and Bucky's relationship and going into the army. I loved all that stuff. But once boot camp where he jumps on Tommy Lee Jones' frag, all that stuff. But once he becomes Captain America, his missions, they kind of do a montage of all of World War II to get to the end for Red Skull. It's just not a fan. Personally, not a big fan. Ant-Man and the Wasp coming in at number 16. How did I say that's better than Captain America? Well, I'll tell you why. I just personally prefer the comedy, lightheartedness, and small contained story of that film compared to Captain America: The First Avenger. And that's kind of how I did this whole list. I compared movies that are closest to each other head to head. Oh, I can't have this there because I like this one better than this one, but and that's how I did it. So Ant-Man and the Wasp comes in at number 16. Not by any means a great movie, but also give it like a 6.5. Um, Paul Rudd is phenomenal as always. Love him and his daughter's dynamic. That's the best part of the movie. Not a big fan of the Wasp. I shouldn't say that. I'm not a big fan of the Wasp, but I am a big fan of. Oh, I'm not going to pronounce it right. Eva Jean Lilly. I know the actress's name, but I just can't pronounce it. The actress who plays the Wasp, I love her performance out of the action scenes. She's a phenomenal actress, incredibly talented, and they do have great chemistry. So maybe I'm rethinking my statement that I don't like the Wasp. I think they actually have great chemistry. Yeah, but then you have cheap, stupid stuff like the ant playing the drums. I mean, come on. So it's got its gives and takes, but it's not a horrible movie by any means. It's a pretty good movie. Next, directly following that, is the first Ant Man, which is better than Ant Man and the Wasp. If Ant Man and the Wasp is a 6.5, Ant Man is a 7. Um, it could be higher if the recent Marvel movies haven't keep getting better and better. Like Ant-Man would be higher on my list if all the recent movies haven't been constantly in my top few movies because they've been so good consistently. Spoiler alert, I guess, kind of. You'll see. Um, excuse me, everyone. Um, but I do like Ant Man a lot. I love Michael Douglas's performance. I absolutely adore Paul Rudd, and Paul Rudd and Michael Pena steal that movie. Their dynamic, in my opinion, it's absolutely phenomenal and hilarious. Um, my cousin got deported, but I got to keep the van. Like that stuff just kills me. Um, anyway, yeah, I like the movie a lot. I like the movie a lot, but it's smaller. But I still like the movie a lot. Next, coming in right after Ant Man, is Thor. Thor is a good origin movie. Oh wait, I didn't number these. Sorry. 20, 19, so Ant Man was number 15 on my list. Thor is number 14 on my list. I should have numbered these on my list. I am stupid. I'm sorry. So coming in at number 14 is Thor. Good movie. Not many issues with it, except, I like relationship between Thor and Jane. The boss fights are kind of stupid. But I like Loki's dynamic with Thor. I like Odin's dynamic with Thor, and I like Jane's dynamic with Thor. I like the cameo from Clint and appearance from Nick Fury himself. And I think overall, it's just a good movie. It's a great setup. It's Phase One. That's what it's meant to do, and it does it great. At number 14 on my list, this one may get me the most hate of all, and I'm ready for it because I will argue this all day long because it's my opinion. Black Panther. Black Panther, number 14. Let me explain. It just didn't do it for me. Killmonger, everyone talks about how great Killmonger was. I think it's stupid. It's not Malcolm X versus Martin Luther King in terms of ideology. It's not. It's comparing Killmonger's ideology to Malcolm X's ideology, other than their use of violence or condoning of violence, I should say. It's just completely stupid. Killmonger is crazy, in my opinion. Not there were there were times in which, and especially when they show the flashbacks of Killmonger's baby kid, that stuff made me feel for him. But as an adult, no pity whatsoever, none, absolutely none. When he you know gets beaten at the end of the movie, I'm not sitting there like, well, he kind of had a point. I feel bad for them. No, no, fuck you. No, that's just my opinion. And then also, but T'Challa and his story arc is phenomenal. The adversity he faces and overcomes, absolutely love it. Love Black Panther as a character, absolutely adore him. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's intelligent. I think he is well spoken. I think he is has awesome powers. I think he's cool. I think the world of Black Panther as a character. I just the film Ryan Coogler, by the way, phenomenal director. The film's directed phenomenally. It's written phenomenally. Even Michael B. Jordan, who played a character I did not connect with and did not like as a villain, played that character phenomenally. Chadwick Boseman play everything about the movie is phenomenal. Just the finished product didn't work for me, and that's why it's so low on my list. Anyway, coming in, I gotta go quicker. Sorry, at 15 minutes. Number 13, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm gonna get slaughtered for this being so high because so many people were disappointed by it. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Ego could have done without him, but other than that, love the movie. Love that Guardian of the Galaxy sauce that we get with every James Gunn Guardian of the Galaxy movie. Love the soundtrack, even though it wasn't as good as the first one. Loved the banter. Loved the tonality of the film, the way it was shot, everything. I adore the Guardians of the Galaxy universe, and it's not as strong of an entry as the first one. I'm nowhere near it, just because of the narrative was not nearly as strong or compelling to me. But still, great movie. Next, I'm gonna get slaughtered again, dude. What is this list? All right, just remember this is subjective because this is my opinion, and so many of you are gonna disagree with this. But at number 12 in the MCU, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. For many people, this is top three, if not number one. For me, I love the Russo brothers are like one of my favorite director. I'm putting them together, but like Joe and Anthony Russo are my favorite directors, like maybe ever. I absolutely love them. I love hearing them talk about the films they make. I love their ideology. I love the way they approach filmmaking. I love everything about the way they handle their filmmaking process. They inspire me, and I draw a lot of inspiration for them for my creative writing exercises and stuff I do for school. So I'm a huge fan. Great movie. Love the political thriller inside the MCU. I thought it was great, but Bucky just isn't that compelling of a character to me. I know millions of people disagree with me on that. Just doesn't connect well with me. Even though the ending of that movie it does redeem that for me because seeing Cap, the only part about Bucky that I connect with is Steve and Bucky's relationship because that is special, and the fact that Steve continuously goes to bat for him, even when he's a brainwashed killer. That's the saving grace. Great movie, entertaining. Um, I would give that an 8, maybe an 8.5. Still very, very good. There's just so many great movies. You can say it's the 13th or 12th best in the MCU, and it's still like a great movie. That's the beauty of the MCU. Coming in at, well, I got to recount. I'm sorry, guys. I'll be quick. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. So that was the 11th. Winter Soldier was the 11th. So here we are with the 10th. So now we're into the top 10, baby. Almost done here. Almost 20-minute long video. Holy crap. By far the longest on my channel. Number 10, Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch, A plus. Visual effects, A plus. Direction, A plus. Sound effects and mixing, A plus. Narrative, compelling, deep in mythology and lore, true to the comics to the extent that is appropriate. Um, the banter and the cockiness of Doctor Stephen Strange, everything. Love this movie. Um, Easily 8.5, 9, somewhere in there. Love it. Seen it a bunch. One of the few Avengers slash Marvel movies I own on Blu-ray because I refuse to buy actually any of the Avengers movies on Blu-ray until Endgame comes out so I can get the 4 movie box set. So all I have is Civil War, Doctor Strange, Deadpool, which is an MCU, and that's basically it for now. That will change soon. Because I do like any of the Blu-rays. Next, after that, and at number 9, Avengers: Age of Ultron. This movie is so ridiculously underappreciated and slept on. It's ridiculous. And I think it's just because the first Avengers was so freaking good that the second one had such higher expectations. And when it wasn't quite as amazing as the first Avengers, people were like, oh, this is bullshit. But I think Josh Whedon knocked it out of the park. I loved James Spader as Ultron. I loved the introduction and setup for Vision. I loved the little tiny, tiny, tiny seeds they planted for Endgame and Thanos and the Infinity War, which they've been doing throughout the whole MCU. And hindsight is 2020, so I guess I can't judge a film off that, because I wouldn't have known that upon all my viewings. But the quality of the film in and of itself is great. I love what they did with Quicksilver and Wanda. I thought this movie was a pivotal moment in the MCU, and that opening scene with the slow motion of Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, all of them like over the ridge. One's on a motorcycle, Hulk's jumping, Iron Man's flying, all that. Best screen grab in any movie ever. Period. Changed my mind. Other than maybe Empire Strikes Back, Luke and Darth Vader on Bespin in Cloud City in the dark when their lightsabers go up. That's the only competition, and it may have a beat. But other than that, those are the two greatest screen grab single frames in movie history. Changed my mind. Next, coming in at number 8, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Tom Holland is the perfect Spider-Man, perfectly relatable as someone who is a senior in high school, junior when this movie came out. I never really related to Peter Parker, who was supposedly a high schooler. I never saw myself in him as a high school student in that experience. When I saw Homecoming, I did for the first time. Um, he's funny, he's witty, he's relatable, he is a teenager. And he pulls off the Spider-Man thing perfectly. I like the Vulture as the first villain. I think that's very appropriate, and it sets up the rest of the Spider-Man universe going forward very well. Can't wait for Far From Home, and Homecoming was phenomenal in my opinion. Love Ned too. Ned is the man. Coming up next in spot seven, seven, another one. This is most people's top three or five, but for me it's seven. Still phenomenal. The movie that started it all, the most important MCU movie out of all of them, even if it's not my favorite. Iron Man. Need say no more. Robert Downey Jr. is a genius. John Favreau is a genius. Kevin Feige is a genius. The movie's phenomenal. Nothing more to be said. I mean, come on, it's fucking Iron Man. Um, yeah. What more do I need to say? The only reason it's seven is because there's six movies I personally enjoyed more than it, but still a 10 out of 10 movie. I mean, come on. All right, coming up next at sixth place. I have a list. Place. The Avengers. Phenomenal. Again, same thing as Iron Man. I'm going to be whipping through these top five because this is already 21 minutes. But The Avengers is absolutely fucking phenomenal. When I first saw that in the theaters, I was 11 or 12 years old. I saw it with my dad on a Friday after school. I just remember the pure joy and excitement it brought me. I'll never forget that feeling leaving the theater as long as I live. And it was special. And that movie is special. Everything about it is special. It's no need to rant about things you already know. But the first superhero team up movie of its kind, the culmination of phase one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the first time we got a glimpse at Thanos and the future of where the MCU was going with the Infinity Saga as we now know it as. Everything about it is just so pivotal and important and amazing. The comedy, the action, the direction, the script, everything. Need say no more. What did I like better than the Avengers, you say? Get ready for a bunch of internet trolls to lose their brains. And at number five, Captain Marvel. And let me say this, I'm not going to sit here and get on my soapbox and start talking about things that are not MCU related. But personally, politically, I fall to the right. That's all I'm going to say about it. I fall on the right wing of things. I still absolutely adore Captain Marvel. And if someone out there actually cares why I do not feel somehow attacked by Brie Larson or somehow attacked by Captain Marvel, which I think is ridiculous, and my side of the aisle saying to boycott it is absolutely immature, idiotic, and stupid, then I'll make a video on it. But until then, there's no reason to get into politics. This stuff's all escapism. But the reason I love Captain Marvel so much, number one, the 90s vibe. As someone who was born in 2001, which is after the 90s, but a lot of those 90s nostalgic things were still around, especially coming up through my childhood, like Blockbuster. I went to Block. That is how my passion and love for film started. When I was 6 or 7 years old, my babysitter would take me to um, Starbucks, uh, Blockbuster, and we would walk up and down the aisles and we would look at all the cases and read all the descriptions. And so I found one or two movies and we would watch them together that night and then return them the next day and then the next week. And we would do that for years. I did that. And that's what started my fandom for film. That's when I saw Jaws, which is like my favorite movie of all time. So yeah, that reference meant a lot to me. But Sam Jackson is phenomenal. Coulson is small part of the movie, but when he's in it, it's great to see him. Brie Larson is Captain Marvel. Man, I'm in love. Like, she's beautiful, but more importantly than that, she is a compelling character who is very, 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 very likable. Um, Cocky in all the right ways. Um, I love the story arc. I love the hero's journey. I adore this movie. I could see it a million times, and I do like it more than Avengers and Iron Man. And I know that's going to piss off a lot of people, and a lot of probably very few, if any, people feel that way. But for me, that's how I felt. Sorry, love you, Brie Larson. You're a great actress. Definitely worth the Oscar for Room, and also great job with Captain Marvel. All right, number four, Thor Ragnarok. Come on now. Taika Waititi came in here from an independent background and absolutely smashed out of the park, completely destroying our preconceived notions of what Thor is, with completely shaping and altering his personality, making him more witty, more funny. You could argue he's nowhere near as close to the comic book and true to the comic book as he was, but I argue that this version of Thor works better where the MCU was headed, and I like it a lot. I like his wittiness. I like his cynicism, but like he's not trying to hide it. Everything about him I love in this movie and going forward in the MCU. Thor used to not be a favorite of mine at all. I used to think Thor was kind of dumb, and I know a lot of people attacked me. But even when I was reading the comics, I was never a big Thor fan. Ragnarok made me Thor is my top three Marvel characters all time right now. MCU adaptations: Tony Stark, Iron Man; Thor, Captain Marvel. Right now, Thor would be nowhere near there 2 years ago. That's all Ragnarok. Also, the Hulk is phenomenal. The Talking Hulk's phenomenal. It's a great movie, and it leads right into Infinity War. Number three, Guardians of the Galaxy. Dude, everything about this movie I absolutely adore. I adore the score. I adore the soundtrack. I adore James Gunn's direction. I adore the script. I adore Bradley Cooper's wit and quickness as Rocket. I adore Groot. I adore the end credit scene with Baby Groot. I adore Chris Pratt as Star Lord. I adore Gamora. I adore the way it's a space opera in the MCU that is somehow like perfectly fits into its own thing, and doesn't like they made it work. And I remember leaving the theater seeing Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, when I first saw the trailer, but I said it's Marvel, I'll go see it. I was like 13 before I was a huge super fan, but I still liked Marvel a lot. I basically saw all the movies, so I was like, you know what, I'll go see it. It seems good enough. I left that theater. That's the day I became a Marvel super fan. I'm not kidding you. I'm not being melodramatic. I'm not exaggerating anything. The day I left that theater for Guardians of the Galaxy was the first day of my like real fandom for Marvel. When I first watched every movie opening night, started reading the comics even more, started learning everything there is to know. Like it became a huge part of my life after that movie because that movie showed me how much joy it can bring me, but also how dynamic the MCU was. And it's not just cookie cutter movies. Even though some people do believe that, I would argue with them till I'm blue in the face that they're wrong. Anyway, so love Guardians of the Galaxy. That's number three. Number two, my second favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe film, Captain America: Civil War. Oh, I love this movie. Captain America. I agree with Captain America ideologically in this movie. I agree the Sokovia Accords are a bad idea. It's stupid. I don't understand why the Avengers would submit to a government that they're 1,000 times more powerful than. I think it's stupid. I think that Tony Stark is guilt tripping everyone else because he feels bad about Sokovia and all that, mixed with his PTSD from New York. But Iron Man is my favorite character in the MCU. I love Tony Stark. So, screw my ideology. Let's go Team Iron Man. This movie had me split at the freaking bones, like watching it. Because, like, one part of me was like, I love Tony Stark. I love Iron Man. I love Robert Downey Jr. Don't hurt him. He's my favorite. And then other part of me was like, dude, fuck the Sokovia Accords. Iron Man's an idiot. Go Cap. And they're just fighting, and it's climaxing into this perfect scene. And the ending of that movie is powerful. The way the way the Russo brothers directed it, the way it was written by Marcus and McFeely, everything is perfect. It's a 10 out of 10 movie for me. These top two movies are 10 out of 10 movies for me. Probably top three. 10 out of 10 movies. Absolutely adore them. I was just rewatching Civil War today, actually, in preparation for Endgame. Um, amazing. It was my number one MCU movie for a long time until number one favorite MCU movie, Avengers Infinity War. I absolutely love this movie. Um, Everything. It was shocking. It was surprising. It destroyed me and then built me back up in the theater and then destroyed me again and then built me right back up, and it did it like three times. And the way it constantly gives you a ray of hope throughout the entire film. Oh, this is when they're gonna win. Oh no, this is when they're gonna win. Oh, okay, I see Thor as Stormbreaker now they're good. Oh, okay, I see they're gonna pull the stone out of Vision, now we're good. Oh no, okay, Thanos reversed time, but before he can snap, Thor is gonna undo it, be able to kill him. Okay, great. You should have went for the head. Oh my god, chills every time, and I know it's coming. Chills, absolute. Oh my gosh, best Marvel movie ever by far. Perfection. Not a single frame isn't perfect. The script by Marcus McFeely is perfect. The direction is perfect. They somehow took over 25 characters who all can support their own franchises and made them like and work perfectly. Everyone got their own moments. No one too dominated it too much. But yeah, no one was excluded except Hawkeye. That's awkward. But anyway, um, everyone got their moments. It was perfection. I love Thanos. I actually just ordered a Thanos. So you sidebar here. If you guys are aware, back on the Infinity War press tour, Kevin Feige was wearing this New Era officially licensed Infinity War hat with the A logo, golden, and the Infinity War. And it was limited edition. I really wanted it, but it was sold out everywhere. Um, but this year they're doing it same type of hat, same thing, officially licensed New Era, but it's for Endgame. And on the back it says Avengers Endgame on the back of the hat, but on the front it's just Thanos with his helmet on. And I got it, and I'm so excited, cannot wait to get that in. So I'm a big Thanos fan. I disagree completely with his ideology. I don't understand, if you're such a fucking philanthropist, why don't you just use the gauntlet to make more resources? And I just think he's an idiot. But he's a true believer. He's intriguing. He's charismatic. He is interesting. He's complex, and he's badass. And for that, I respect him as a character. Josh Brolin pulls it off phenomenally. I could talk about this movie for another 30 minutes by itself, and I'm not going to bore you with that. But the point is, 10 out of 10, these top three movies, Well, I'm not going to give them to you in order, but Infinity War, Civil War, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Infinity War number one, Civil War number two, Guardians of the Galaxy number three. Those are my top three, all 10 out of 10 movies. And then the four and five, Ragnarok and Captain Marvel. Those are 9.5 out of 10s for me. So there are a lot of amazing MCU movies, but Infinity War is a cut above the rest when it comes to objectively, the film, because all those movies I listed, like Captain Marvel, Ragnarok, all those movies, they brought a lot of joy to me, and they had moments in there that I really was craving, and I didn't know I wanted, but I did need, and everything was great about them. But objectively, Infinity War is the most challenging, daunting task any studio has ever tried to do, and they nailed it, and it was phenomenal. There wasn't one issue, in my opinion, with any of it. I thought the pacing was perfect. I thought it was a 2 hour and 45-minute movie that felt like 20 minutes. I felt like every time I saw it again, I needed to see it again. I saw it 6 times in theaters, and usually for Marvel movies, I'm 3 or 4. But I had to see it like 6 times in the first like 3 weeks, because I was like, oh my gosh, like actually like the first week and a half. But because I just couldn't wrap my head around everything. There was so much. I loved it. Yeah. So I just talked about my rankings for all 21 Marvel Cinematic Universe films for the last 34 minutes and 17 seconds. So if you guys enjoyed that and you stuck through, comment below potato, just so I know that you guys got to the end of the video. A little bit of psychology there. And who knows, maybe no one will comment that because, I rambled for 35 minutes. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me drag on for an extended period of time about these films that I'm so passionate and love. If you disagree with me on any or all of my rankings, feel free to drop in the comments below and sound off. I'd love to hear what you have to think and say. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for all future Marvel, Star Wars, and other film content. I will be at Star Wars Celebration this Friday, so expect a vlog from there, including live coverage of the Episode 9 panel. So a lot in the next couple of days. And yeah, guys, we're in the end game now. Can't wait. Only about 2.5 more weeks. See you guys later. Bye bye.